You know, it's pretty incredible in China. General aviation is just coming of age there. They're just starting to open up the airspace. So the environment in the country is a lot like it was in the 1930s in America. 20–30% of the population's never even seen an airplane before.
The Chinese people were completely in awe. I mean, it was like they had seen something out of a science fiction movie.
And the crowds were unbelievable. We had 500,000 people in attendance over 6 days of racing, and the crowds were mobbing us. I mean, we felt like the Beatles.
I felt like Lindbergh almost. It's like the invention of the car in the United States. They were just so excited to see something different. We were almost like rock stars when we were over there.
It's an incredible audience, and it's an incredible sport taking place in an incredible country.
Wow. I have never seen anything like this ever.
It's an exciting time to be there. It's the Wild West of aviation, and we're the pioneers. It's awesome.
You got enough pictures?
We thought it would be interesting to have multiple airplanes, like they have in Reno, but do slalom-style close course racing like Red Bull. So it's really the best of both worlds.
Chinese style racing tends to be more dangerous because we're running a freestyle course. Each race is individually choreographed, so each individual one is a different race.
It creates something that's exciting. It's right in front of the crowd. It's very demanding on the pilots. Yes, it's very dangerous, but it's managed danger.
Really brings out the excitement in the spectators, and even it's exciting for the pilot too.
Well, air racing started the minute somebody could fly an airplane in the first place. In the 1930s, air racing was huge. It was as big as NASCAR is today. You had the Bendix Trophy, the Thompson Trophy.
As far as spectators go, that was their Super Bowl.
It was a huge, huge sport.
And it was a golden era of aviation.
Well, really, air racing is a combination of aerobatic flying, formation flying, and combat techniques. You're tracking another car, one or two other airplanes. You're maneuvering between obstacles, which are the pylons, and you're trying to execute all of that to gain a situational advantage or a tactical advantage. So, in essence, we call it threading the needle.
Basically, fly low, fly fast, don't run into each other, and have some fun and be safe.
Well, in the slalom racing that we're doing, we fly through a slalom course and then we reverse back. We execute a wing over, or sometimes called a combat reversal. The thing is, the guy with the best cornering ability is going to be able to take the advantage in that turn. So the objective is to pull up, max G, best cornering speed, and get back inside of the other racer and back onto the course.
Adrenaline is huge. You have to be part of the race team to actually know. I mean, it's one thing to be on the spectator side of it, but to be on the air racing and in the cockpit, up close and personal with it, it's just...
You have to be careful and situationally aware of where you are. Rules are that pass on the outside. Consequently, you've got to conserve energy through both the straightaways and in the turn so that you can be able to get around the other person without invading the course line. I think we can have 10 races in 10 cities. We can have a circuit just as big as NASCAR, no problem. At this point, it was the first series of races were televised. The audience was 865 million. To put that in perspective, it's 4 times larger than the Super Bowl and the second largest televised aviation event in history, second only to the Apollo moon landings. Strategically, when I'm running the course, I lay back in number 2 position. That allows me to watch the guy in front fly the line. I get an idea how much energy he's bleeding on each pylon, and I get an idea of how difficult it's going to be to get around him. It also allows me, from a racing strategy point of view, to let him lull himself into a sense of complacency. He's used to flying the course, he's going around the course, he's in number 1 position, he doesn't really know how far I am behind him, he doesn't feel the threat, so to speak. And then right towards the last lap, I'll come in and I'll execute some very aggressive maneuvers to get around him. Well, in one of the races in Chongqing, I was against another Lancair that was identical airplane, but he had a little bit stronger speed, probably about 15 knots additional speed on me. If you see on the tape, what I did was I flew really low into ground effect. The way that works is the ground effect of the airplane is actually a cushion of air that occurs 1 wingspan of the airplane above the ground. So there's up to 10% more lift created when you're riding on that cushion of air. The lower you are, the bigger the cushion of air, the more dramatic effect it has. So even though the other guy had 10 or 15 knots of extra speed on me, I was able to beat him because I got down into ground effect, used that to get forward momentum, forward energy on the airplane, and then I took him in the turn. You're also thinking about your flight line through the course compared to the other racers' wake turbulence. Because as those planes are knifing through the air, their propellers are creating disturbance in the air and their wings are creating disturbance too. So you've got little miniature tornadoes that you're flying through while you're trying to fly 10 feet off of the ground, get through the pylons and keep track of the other airplanes. So there's a lot going on in a race. You're working really hard. You're trying to keep track of all of these factors, which can make the difference between success or failure, or in the case of air racing, between life and death. But let's face it, this is not for everybody. This is dangerous stuff, and we want to keep it safe. The best way to do that is fly with people you know.